Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is January 25th, 2024, and the judge in charge of the Enrique Negreira investigation has exonerated Barcelona. Also, I have an injury update for you for all the players that suffered some injury or some discomfort in the match against Athletic Club Bilbao in the Copa del Rey. And finally, more VAR audios have been leaked. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps the channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kit bag. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links for kit bag and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, beginning with the news that the judge in charge of the Jose Maria Enrique Negreira investigation, Joaquin Aguirre, has ruled that there is no evidence that proves or that supports the allegations that Barcelona bribe referees or that they influence any kind of matches. Now, as I reported in previous videos, Barcelona had hired the former referee Jose Maria Enrique Negreira as a consultant for the club. However, during the years that Jose Maria Enrique Negreira was working for Barcelona, he was also one of the vice presidents of the Committee of Referees, which prompted an investigation by the prosecutor's office in Spain into Barcelona for sports corruption. Now, after more than a year of investigation, the prosecutor's office ruled that there was no evidence to support that Barcelona had bribed any referees or influenced the competition, and instead the investigation changed its course to see whether there was some kind of financial crimes perpetrated on behalf of Negreira and on behalf of the former Barcelona referees. Now, this conclusion was not just reached by the prosecutor's office in Spain, it was also reached by the Spanish Treasury and by UEFA and of course the investigative police forces. But despite all of that, the judge in charge of the investigation, Joaquin Aguirre, continued to insist that Barcelona must have bribed referees. Otherwise, why did they hire Enrique Negreira and why were they paying him all that money? Now, the judge went even as further as suggesting that since there was no evidence that Barcelona had made cash payments to referees, that maybe they were influencing the competition through a different method, maybe through the promotion and demotion method, where Enrique Negreira would promote referees to the first division who were willing to help Barcelona and demote referees to lower divisions who weren't willing to help Barcelona. But this was quickly disproved when it was shown that Jose Maria Enrique Negreira simply had no power over the promotion and demotion system. Well, finally, Joaquin Aguirre, the judge in charge of this investigation, has reached the same conclusion that all the other investigative bodies have reached, which is that there's absolutely no evidence that supports the allegation that Barcelona bribed any referees or tried to influence any kind of competitions. And instead, the judge has said that now he is more concerned about whether there were tax crimes committed or some kind of financial crimes, but no sports corruption, which is what we knew from the beginning and which what I've been saying since day one. But yet you won't hear this in mainstream media in Spain. Now, speaking of the Enrique Negreira case, the judge has ruled that Jose Maria Enrique Negreira is mentally fit to testify, because there was doubts about whether Negreira could testify in his own case because he does suffer from dementia and other mental health issues. But after undergoing examination by forensic experts, the experts have reached a conclusion that yes, Enrique Negreira does suffer from dementia, however, that he's still capable of testifying. So it's expected that Jose Maria Enrique Negreira will testify in this case, which again, it's now centered on financial and tax crimes, not on sports corruption, because as I've been saying since day one, there's absolutely no evidence that supports the allegation that Barcelona bribed referees or try to influence any competitions. And speaking of competition, as you already know, Barcelona were knocked out of the Copa del Rey yesterday at the hands of Athletic Club de Bilbao in the quarterfinals, and I did do a post-match live analysis. So if you want to hear my thoughts and opinions about the match, make sure you check it out in the video. But now it's time to talk about the aftermath of that defeat, because it's reported that Joan Laporta was extremely upset and disappointed at that defeat. and so was the board of directors. Now, despite the board of directors and Joan Laporta being angry and disappointed at what happened at San Mamés, the club will continue with Xavi Hernandez until the end of the season because, as I've said many times before, Barcelona have no plans of parting ways with Xavi Hernandez halfway through the season because it's reported that the board want to give the team as much stability as possible, and of course sacking a coach midway through the season that can only throw things into disarray and make things even worse. Now, despite the board's and Joan Laporta's support of Xavi, it's reported that things could change after the match against Napoli, which is in February in the round of 16 of the Champions League, because Barcelona need to qualify to the quarterfinals because they have budgeted in their budget to make it all the way to the quarterfinals. So if Xavi Hernandez and the team are eliminated out of the Champions League in the round of 16, that can completely throw Barcelona's budget into total chaos. So it's reported that if that happens, things could change and we could see the sacking of Xavi Hernandez. But for now, it's reported that the board will wait until the end of the season to see whether they sacked Xavi or not. And it's also reported that if Barcelona do finish out of the top 4 teams in La Liga, then for sure Barcelona will swing the axe and will look to sack Xavi Hernandez. And speaking of that match in Copa del Rey, we all saw when Alejandro Balde suffered an injury and had to be subbed out. And after undergoing medical exams, the initial reports were stating that Alejandro Balde could be out for a month and a half. But now more reports are coming out saying that Balde might have to undergo surgery, and if that's the case, then Alejandro Balde could miss the remainder of the season. He could also miss the Euro Championship in the summer with Spain. Now, for now, it's not for sure whether Balde will undergo surgery or not. It's reported that he will undergo further medical exams, and after those medical exams are conducted, a decision will be made. So I wish the best for Alejandro Balde, and I wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully all turns out well. Now, while we're still talking about injuries, we all saw Joao Cancelo, who suffered a knee injury against Las Palmas, being included in yesterday's squad, but not playing any single minutes. It's reported it's because Joao Cancelo had not recovered or was not 100% fit despite being included in the squad, and that is why he did not play a single minute, because Xavi Hernandez did not want to risk the health of the player. And in fact, Joao Cancelo was seen today train with a bandage around his knee, which shows that the player is yet to be 100% fit. Now, speaking of being 100% fit, it's reported that Ronald Araujo, Hector Ford, and Andreas Christensen are all going to be 100% fit for this upcoming match against Villarreal, which is of course great news because we all saw when Ronald Araujo suffered that blow, which seemed that he had picked up a knee injury. We also saw Andreas Christensen being subbed out in the 70th minute. And we also saw Hector Ford suffering from a lot of cramps and could barely walk towards the end of the match. But despite all of that, it's being reported that all 3 players are healthy and that all 3 players will be available for selection for this upcoming match against Villarreal, which is set to be played on Saturday. Now, we will end today's video with more talks about referees, since we started the video talking about referees, but more VAR audios have been leaked by Gerard Romero, the reporter for Gigantes, and this time it includes or discusses the penalty kick that was clearly committed by Tchouaméni against Ronald Araujo in the Clásico match, but was not called out by the referees. Now, we all recall that clear PK that Tchouaméni committed against Araujo in the penalty box, where Tchouaméni takes Araujo down to the ground, and now Gerard Romero has obtained his hands on the VAR audios that showed the clear discussion between the referees, and this is what they all had to say. He puts his hand over him, of course, but there is never a penalty. There's nothing. He grabs him and jumps up. Accidental. He kind of puts his hand on him and pushes him back, but it's not a penalty. So from these audios, it's clear that the referees indeed saw what happened in the box, but despite that, they still ruled that it wasn't a penalty because according to them, it was not enough for a penalty kick. But that only makes things more confusing because when we saw the other Clásico match in the Spanish Super Cup, Ronald Araujo barely puts his arm on Vinicius Jr., but yet that was considered a penalty kick. But in this instance, it was not enough for a penalty kick. So I definitely don't understand what's going on with the VAR. I no longer understand refereeing rules or footballing rules in the Spanish league, but maybe you guys do. If you do, please explain it to me down below in the comment section. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Biscars.